understand. I mean, I miss the way it was. Oh, the post office.
Sometimes they will put them in your boxes if they know, and sometimes they won't.
Okay. I believe this is going.
Yeah.
That guy's already signed it.
I'll be right back.
I don't care, it's done, it's over with, I'm tired of dealing with it.
I'm with you. I'm just. Okay.
That's
You want to talk about the meeting?
Today?
Yes. just a little
Okay. Is this what you're telling me? This is what
Yeah.
I just got. Yeah. Ding.
We'll answer it. Hey Lisa, did you leave that book for Terry? She's not gonna be here tonight, but Sarah put it on her desk so she can get it to her.
I have it on my desk. Do you want me to bring it back?
No, I've already locked the door.
All right.
Thank you. Is that an actual call?
Yes.
Where's it at?
What they say, arson? They had a call back on the internet. She's got a whole lot. That's fine. But it's on our exit. Yeah,
Bye,
that's fine.
Katie. Be safe.
Okay.
That sucks.
We have, he's the one behind Steve.
Oh, so wait on
So
the.
if we
Did you
have-
say he's
Wait
right
on
behind?
5.
Yeah. There's a.
Shocking, an attorney that runs behind.
He's usually.
That's fast.
Car versus someone.
Steve. You can.
Not tonight.
Hey, Kevin,
Well,
did you happen to hear what they said it was on I-80?
Car versus semi.
I know.
Oh, just west?
Did you look at that entry that I told you to look at? Right here.
You gotta do that. Public, yeah.
Well, first of all, right here, we have not enclosed the right notice. They should have been doing that. They should be charged for that, but. God, she's so mean.
Of course.
Hi, Forrest.
What?
This one?
I'm gonna ask you, on the sidewalk.
We can't.
See this.
Sean may not come. What?
They're just.
Oh, we can't.
It's not just that front page. It's
Oh.
That's what I saw. Like, $100 or something.
Oh.
Did you come in?
No, I was meeting with Jim.
Oh,
We were looking at the road,
oh.
so no, I didn't come tonight.
Email
Uh,
Mike.
But yeah, so
Yeah,
for
then
nine
you
years
can-
sidewalks, I'm just waiting for there's some community members that might want to get involved.
Oh, right here.
Half of that's, just, I mean, it's just.
50, right here. Return call to Mike Dixon regarding all cities annexation. Explain to him what we are doing.
I know,
He
and
asked
so
me
that's kind of
about
why I
it,
want to
and
get
say
a
was blah, blah, blah,
meeting
blah,
together
blah,
to.
blah, 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 and I did not know. We'll be attending the meeting tonight. No problem with supervisors.
It's not me presenting something to the council and all of a sudden.
There's Eric Turner. Yeah, right there. He's just walking back over to his truck.
Yeah, so nothing set in
Yeah,
stone,
I
so
know.
you still.
Yeah. Mike, have you met Chris Becker?
What?
You met Chris
This
Becker,
for Sean.
Region 12?
No, I
If you
don't
have,
think
just
so.
say yourself.
I mean,
I met him in the, when I
Yeah,
was
he's-
sitting out.
he
on
might
the
have been
ground.
here, but
He's been around. Just said, I'm just saying.
Nice guy. Yeah, he's been around for so long. Long time. He knows me.
uh-oh, so we should go to him.
He's a nice guy, you're like.
That's to date though.
13,000. Right, I know, but I'm just saying.
Oh.
See, all these guys take
Yeah,
off,
but
reminds me when I worked at the meat company, we had probably 6 guys on the fire department out of 21 people, and also the fire alarm gone, you got 6 or 7 people take off. And my boss says, they can't all take off. I said, this is the most flammable place in the county. If this caught on fire, you want all the other employees say, no, you can't go fight the fire.
Yes.
Because I felt pretty safe having all them firefighters working with me.
I have no idea, I was gonna ask you
And there's somebody else.
So, Chris. Christie's not here on this one.
Oh, she's supposed to be. I don't know. She's gone behind.
Which hides back.
Maybe
there a little
normal.
bit.
I don't know.
Why does this say 138 and look at this one? Right, so yeah, those gotta get 19, right?
And these will have to go to.
Yeah.
Well, he,
Stuck him registered.
well, I was gonna say, yeah, if there's an accident, he could be ours.
No,
Oh, there's Chrissy. No.
Well, it's meeting night, so everybody was getting ready to come up for a meeting, so they're all.
Joyce came to
You can't get enough. I saw Mark Kissel such the other day. And he went right around.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I was out there with him. They don't, you're practically invisible.
Really?
It doesn't matter.
Call this meeting to order. Stuart City Council tentative agenda Monday, July 12th, 2021, 6:30 PM, council chambers. Call to order. Belden.
Here.
Renzo.
Here.
Glass. Askren. Kaba.
Here.
Okay. Agenda approval, consent agenda, approval of minutes of 6/14/2021, approval of financial statements as of 6/30/2021, approval of bills as presented. And at this time, we're waiting on
4 and 5.
4 and 5. He might be stuck on the interstate, so need a motion to approve the agenda
So moved.
And consideration.
and consent agenda.
Hold on.
Moved by Renzo.
Just a second.
Oh,
I don't know.
Do you want to talk about it or not? So just pay it.
Moved by Vincent.
Never mind.
Okay.
second,
Second.
second by Kaba. How do you vote? Belden,
Yeah.
Renzo,
Yes.
Kaba.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go down to 6 then. Christie.
Well, here's the sign we had made. And of course, they are painting rocks in Stuart now, people are finding them. I know the daycares have painted some rocks, care center have painted some rocks. And we thought about the park, which when I came, and before the sign was made, and then that's why I wasn't back, because with COVID, it hadn't got completed yet. We thought about the park, that was a no. Well, then Lisa had suggested the library, and they loved the idea. And, is Jim here?
No, they all got called out on
Yeah, I
accident.
did. he thought he had a couple spots to put it. We've got 2 nice wooden dowels that are painted white that would go in the ground. We're thinking about putting it up next to the building over here. And when people come by, they're gonna have a really nice saying, made in the shape of Iowa. And the rocks are a very popular thing. I know that, like I said, it's being done right now in town. I just want to see about getting approval to go ahead and work with Jim Henderson and get it put in.
A few things to say,
Go ahead.
if you want me to. Okay. So first you came approximately June of last year, and we,
August.
okay, so August. And we asked you to come back the next month to talk to, when Jim was available, because it was towards the end of the meeting. And then it was on the agenda, and then you,
It wasn't on
you
the
didn't,
agenda because I didn't call in because the sign wasn't made, so.
but you had told us that you ordered the sign before you had come up. And we had discussed the park, the Lauterball Park, but we had discussed that it was too much of a risk because the rocks and stuff will get thrown and things, and we didn't want damage to our mowers when they mow. And so then you had said that you had talked to Lisa Sherman. Lisa Sherman said when we had talked to her, she said that a year ago, she said, you know, she wouldn't have a problem with it. But now, given the fact that our society has moved in so many different ways, that if we allow one group to put a sign up, that opens us up to putting any other group, whether it be bad, good. I mean, people could come up and say, okay, you know, I'm part of the Black movement and we want to put our sign up. We can't really say, well, we allowed you, but not them. So that was brought to our attention. And so she was a little hesitant about that, but she said, I'm sorry.
Oh, nothing. I just said hi, Ash.
So that was brought up, which is a very valid point. And then the other thing I had an issue with is when this now has come to light, when we contact city employees, we would wish that you would contact City Hall to request things and not spouses, and asking spouses to.
Oh, I didn't have Jim Henderson's number. I was on the road.
I know, I understand. I'm just
So
saying.
Ronnie works for us and I said, call Ronnie and said, hey, I need to get a hold of Jim, to talk to Jim, because I wanted to find out when I came to be prepared, do I need one call or is that something Jim could do?
Okay, well,
So I just called Ronnie to see
I was
if I
told a
had
little
Jim
different.
Henderson's phone number.
yeah, I was told a little different, but if you want to get a hold of Jim, you can call City Hall. Sarah
Well, it
takes
was
one,
7 o'clock at night. So
but you can call the next day. Jim
morning.
Henderson is available. Sarah takes wonderful messages. But he doesn't take one calls unless, or he doesn't do one calls unless he has direction to, and he's not had direction, so.
Nope, that's why I wanted to know. I didn't know if that's something he did or if I needed that. So that was the direction I was taking.
Well, I'm just relaying what I've been told. So he said that he has a couple other areas in mind.
And I'm open for anywhere. I mean, I really don't care where we put it. I thought it would be nice along the road because of the 4-way stop, people would see it. You know, out of town traffic that travels Highway 6, tourism, things like that. But if we can't get it approved there, I just want it to go up so we can use it and people can use it. It's called kindness. Be kind.
So what are the other areas Jim has?
Well, he was gonna be here to
Oh,
discuss that,
I
but
thought maybe you knew, but
he didn't tell me. He just said he had a couple other options.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see a problem with it if
Is
she
there a
works
place in
with Jim
Is there a
to,
place in the pocket park that would work?
It would be good up there too. I don't care if that'd be, but I just thought maybe, I didn't know if we had as much traffic as what we do here, you know, on the highway. That's why I thought it would be nice here. But,
The only question I had is were you thinking right out here in front?
wherever Jim wanted to put it, I'm open, because the boards will go into the ground. And then they have like a re-rod pole that goes, you know, so that can be staked in and they fasten. They're just like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only concern here, we've had windows broken because of activity in the front, like right off of the building.
yeah.
Because-
And like I said, hadn't even really thought about the library. Lisa knew we was making it, and when we talked, she said, well, why not put it in front of the library? And I was like, oh, it's a good spot. And but the sign wasn't made yet. With COVID, they had trouble getting the wood in, that was so expensive. You know, and then we just kind of put it off until we had it done like January or so, but I wanted to wait till spring. So now,
Can I just make the motion that we go ahead and approve it, but she works with Jim Henderson to find a spot that works for both?
Okay.
It's fine.
I mean, Jim said he had a couple other spots, so if they can just work
Mhm.
together and get it done.
Okay.
Okay.
sounds
Who
good.
seconded?
A second. Brian, second. Okay, moved by Renzo, second by Belden. How do you vote? Belden?
Yeah.
Renzo?
Yes,
Kava?
Yep.
Thanks, Christie.
Thank you.
Okay, 7, we're gonna table because Mick's not here.
Yeah, Mick talked to me about it and he said he talked to Rex and the mayor said he talked to Rex too, so. The mayor will. continue.
I took a call from Rex as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
And
not heard one good thing about this change at all from anyone.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
well, Scott Avey told me he's willing to work with everybody, but like
Yeah,
I
but
told Rex, we can't go out front and in the alley in one block. You gotta do one or the other.
well, and I mean, it comes down to, I mean, we got the information the same night, we made a motion, we did it,
Yeah,
and we probably should have had more input, and so,
Right.
you know. I don't know. I'm just,
That's what's concerning to me is I've heard a couple of different reasons on why it was brought up, so, you know.
no, I mean, I can tell you how it was brought up. Scott Avey talked to the city, Public Works Department, talked to them. They asked me, I asked to set something in public agenda or public forum, asked for it to be on the agenda the next month. Asked Ash if somebody from City Hall would contact Scott, get his input. And we were told that that happened and Scott was okay. And we made the motion and we approved it. Then it was a big deal. People came. We made the adjustments that we needed to make with Galliano's, and Scott contacted those people who he understood who needed to be changed back and who didn't. And then I got a phone call from Scott saying that he wanted to move it back to the alley, but in like 6 months, move it back to the street. So my concern is I don't want to keep jacking around with it. I mean, I think Rex is the only person so far that in the last month that has had an
Paul
issue with it.
Steinbach.
Okay, so
had mentioned
I
it.
mean, those are small things that they can contact Scott Avey and deal with it. You know, and they can just take care of it amongst themselves. Over 50% of the city was on street side pickup anyways.
And Scott has been working with. a
Yeah,
lot of
and Scott's
people.
been doing a great job working with people, so.
Okay,
so the mechanism, he wants to bring this up at the next meeting, is it?
Okay.
well, unless Scott and Rex and Steinbach, whatever, they can work it out, you know, in amongst themselves. I mean, Mick will tell us what he wants on the
I'm
agenda.
fine, I mean, if there's all feedback that's negative, then we need to fix it and get with what we're doing. I mean,
But
If
it's
there's a
tearing our
place.
alleys up.
see, I'm not sure that I see that, I guess.
I agree with that too. I drove down a bunch of the alleys.
You
here
drive
the other
down my
day.
alley all the
Huh?
time. My alley is horrible.
Okay, but I don't think we should change it just based on one.
Well, I'm
person.
not saying that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying they are tearing up alleys, and Jim and Corey don't have enough time to fix the alleys appropriately now. They're just trying to patch them as they go.
And I understand that, but we haven't had too many people up there complaining about alleys either, so.
Plus, like I told Ash before, I think if we're gonna make a decision, Scott Amy needs to be in the room so we can talk to him instead of trying to
And
discuss
really,
this.
just to fix the problem, we probably should be asphalting the alleys,
That's what Norma Thurman
That
recommended
sounds-
last meeting, which makes perfect sense.
I think it
that
makes
we have-
perfect sense.
Yeah, it's a
we
good idea.
Asphalt the alleys and we share costs similar
That's
to what,
what we had done earlier, was to
Yeah.
asphalt all right.
I think it's a good idea to start.
do some sort of long-term plan where you do, a half dozen a year, and then you don't have to deal with it, so.
Okay,
Dollar General Alley in their alleys like that.
Okay, move on to 8, 2021 comprehensive plan, final approval.
okay, we have received the final version of the comp plan. We have our favorite person from Region 12.
Oh, okay.
Chris Whitaker.
Because it's not-
He's-
That's pretty nice.
He is willing to answer any question if we have one. We've been working on that comp plan for over a year now.
I haven't done anything, Ash, I just come to a couple meetings.
Good.
As you know, Freddie
We-
started coming all the way.
Freddie
Freddie did the lines of
started.
sheriff work
You've
on
been
his
around for
county.
as long as I've been around.
Yeah,
So
so
we-
yep,
we
that's
thank you.
true, Ash, so.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. So I guess, Freddie Vasquez started this, Molly, Mantle kind of did some changes, with some input from the planning committee. I think you've seen this once, a few changes, and now it's back to you for your final review and approval. So I guess I just answer any questions you may have. Of course, the one thing that we do not have, are 2020 census numbers, which is unfortunate, but, when those are coming, your guess is as good as mine, so. Christmas is coming also, and so is the census.
So do we have to wait to finish this until the census comes?
You can do, I guess you can do one of two things. You can adopt this now, and then once we have some, really, I think the main concern from the discussions we had was the population for numbers from the 2020 census. We could very easily amend that and then bring it back to you, and then you could re-adopt it as an update. So whichever you would
That sounds
prefer, so.
Yeah.
It's just not set in stone, we can.
No, this is a document that can be changed. You can adopt now and, in hopefully 3 or 4 months, we have some census numbers. You can go back, you can incorporate those, and then you can re-adopt it, so.
That sounds fair. Okay.
So you wanna adopt it tonight?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we need a
We can amend
motion.
it.
Okay, need a motion.
There you go.
Build it, move by build it.
Moved by Belden, and second?
Oh,
Second.
you,
Yeah, okay. Second by Renslow. How do you vote? Belden?
Yeah.
Renslow?
Yes.
Kaba?
Yep.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Thank you very
Thank
much, I
you, Chris.
appreciate it.
Okay, safe route to school project, Forrest?
So the city was successful in getting a grant to extend a sidewalk from the All Saints Church going west on North Second to the elementary school. And we've been working on that project. We've completed the topographic survey for that. And so we've been working on design, and there's, I guess there's some things we need to discuss as far as which side of the street, and different things, different features that are in the way as we go, how close to the street, trees, all those kinds of things. So I'd like to see if there's some interest from the mayor or some council members. I think Jim at least should be on a kind of a committee that I could kind of bounce ideas and maps and discussions off of to kind of get to, some sort of consensus on a committee level. And then we could bring that to, the next step then would be to have some neighborhood meetings with the residents that are being affected by this, have some meetings with those property owners. And then once we have those neighborhood meetings and we have a final project, then we come back to council for a final approval of that plan. So just, you had Kristen was kind of leading that charge and not here to bounce ideas off of anymore. So looking for some input from whoever it might be interested in kind of looking at this. And
I'd be willing to be with Jim and whoever else, but
Mike, you want to do it?
yeah, that's what I was
I
gonna
just,
say.
I can
since
help too, Forrest, Mike
Okay,
and I,
So,
Mike and Ike.
Jim showed me the map this morning, like I say, neither side's ideal.
no, and there's pros and cons to each. And
But
just
did we get the grant, or we're still in the process
No,
of
we
this?
got the grant.
we got
All right,
it.
and how much is that?
Look,
I can't
That
remember
was
those
one
numbers, I can't.
Kristen applied for.
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yes.
Kristen did
Yes,
that?
Kristen applied for that. We helped her with the numbers and the maps and everything that she put there.
So that's been a while ago.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago. It was last fall.
okay, we have a committee of Jim, Mayor, 2 council members, Winslow, Calba.
Okay.
So that connects the schools, right? Isn't that?
Yes,
Yeah.
the next schools. That's the whole goal of the sidewalk. It's
Okay.
just a 4-foot wide sidewalk.
Sure.
And we planned for that, because does that go through All Saints?
Yes, it will
And we
continue.
planned, because I remember
Yeah.
with clear back when I was on planning and zoning, I think we were
It would
planning through that.
need to be on the same side of the road,
Wait.
particularly, correct? Or is that something the committee puts together
That's
or what?
something
That's-
That's
the
what
whole-
he
I'm
wants
just-
to
that's what I'm
do.
asking.
Because
That's
we've
the
been
whole
struggling
point
with
of
Well, I
that.
get it. That's what I'm
Because the
asking.
person needs to sit down and see what the cost is, because at Wayne Carges, you got to fill in a lot. On Doubleday side, you
gotta
got,
fill it in.
and where Kunkel's house is, you have to build a retaining wall. And Poach, you got a ditch, so
You
a
may have
lot of
to- you may have
aspect to do it.
There's lots of things to look at. That's
That's
why.
why,
I'm-
yeah, he wants a
Okay.
committee.
I was wanting.
And Jim's concern, putting it on the north side, if you gotta go around trees and get out so far, if he wings the snow, it could possibly just wing it right on top of the sidewalk.
I know I talked to Jim about that too a few times and
And
Yeah,
can
it's a
can you
long
take this
process.
grant and do this, and you know how we, made the sidewalk wider so he could run, equipment down it? I think it's wide enough for his truck with a blade.
We
No,
don't,
that's-
there's not room for an 8-foot trail.
Okay.
I mean, we're
Alright.
gonna be hard pressed to get a 4-foot
Okay.
sidewalk.
Forrest, that grant amount between the two is 216,000.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Sweet.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Chris helped with that too.
Yeah.
I wanna give Chris some credit for this. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just have the committee.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'll start
Forrest?
emailing the
Yes.
committee and Mayor and Ash, I'll include you on those, so you're aware of what's going on.
Thank you for it.
Okay, thank you,
Sounds good.
Forrest.
Thanks, Paul.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, rescue unit, John?
I guess, I'll just start with, do you guys have any questions?
I don't, but I like the letter. That's more of what I was looking for last time. So
Oh,
thank you.
Like which,
Where
or
they
it's
said,
kinda like the-
yeah, where he was a little more specific on the price and what you get. I mean, I wasn't so, I figured through what it's gonna look like, but the fact that he said, this is what you're getting for this amount and it includes A, B, and C. That's what I was kind of looking for as a more specific thing. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Something that I guess had been meaning to bring up in the past. Joe Hupp has and this is on the billing side, they have agreements with neighboring communities of a flat $100 per call. I think it's $100, isn't
I
it, Forrest?
believe, yeah.
Or, Ash, sorry.
Yes.
Are you opposed to putting that in place?
By rights, no, in theory, no. You know, I worry that if we do that, these places are gonna say, well, I'll just go with Adair or, you know, whatever the case may be, rather than having us cover their area, which, you know, obviously would be their decision. You know, Joe is in somewhat of a beneficial position in the fact that like the cities that he covers in that regard, they don't have a lot of choice, right? You know, we're in a position where there's other services that are equidistant to these other cities that they could just as easily use as us. And so, I mean, not exactly, but if it came down to, you know, like $1,200 versus they'll do it for free, then you're gonna get, and I don't know what they'll say. Of course, you'd have to go to them and ask them, but that is a possibility if we just start doing that as a flat fee. And
Well, it's
from
not,
talking to him-
it's not just start doing it. It's a best practice from Panora that they put in place. It's a very minimal fee to cover the expenses of a service that's incurred by their taxpayers that's going outside their city boundaries.
Yeah, and those cities don't necessarily mind doing that, you know,
Yeah.
because if, you know, I'd have to pull the numbers, but you know, we do X amount of calls in Menlo every year, you know, but last year their township gave us, I think, $2,500. Well, so let's say we only went on 18 calls in Menlo, then they only give us $1,800 versus the $2,500 they were gonna otherwise spend on like on a donation, right? And of course, this is all theoretical, right? Because they have the ultimate choice.
Yeah,
I just
no,
say that that's kind of I understand, you know, we could
Do the-
easily bring that up with them.
Here's
Do
the
the
thing.
other places that they could go like Adair you mentioned, do they provide the same level of service that Stuart does?
Well, I mean,
Well,
I
I'm
didn't mean
just-
to get into that.
No,
Sorry,
I'm just, no, you're fine, but do they? You
Well,
know?
so 117 that comes out of Greenfield, yes, they provide the same
They do.
level of service.
But I mean, the response time from Stewart to Dexter is 4 miles versus, Dallas County coming from Adel to Dexter is gonna be less. So, I mean, do they, by default, do they respond first, Dallas County, probably to Dexter? Or-
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, to Dallas County, yeah, and then we go to the lake. But I don't think they pay Dallas County anything, and from what I understand, that's the reason that they go with Dallas County at this point, is because that was brought up, that we would start charging them, and of course, that was years ago, so.
So here's a thought on that. How many calls, let's say to Menlo or to Casey, do you end up transporting? Because wouldn't you get more money transporting than you would not transporting?
Yeah, but especially.
So
you know,
if you implement
usually.
$100 fee, do you still get your transportation, do you still get the insurance money for transporting?
Mhm.
Versus, do you run that risk of charging that and them going with someone else? Maybe you're still making more money because even though you're not charging with fee, you're still transporting quite a bit of their calls. So you're
Right.
not really losing out.
Correct. By and large, when we go to these other smaller towns that don't have their own service, we don't, in Stuart, we do quite a few where we just go and the patient refuses or whatever the case may be. But, those other towns, when they call us, chances are we need to go somewhere. So I would say we're more at like, 80 or 90% of calls get transported and then revenue comes in from those calls. So
I guess all I'm getting at, I don't want to beleaguer the situation, but that's not, I know that it was about ordering a rescue unit, but I'd like the information from Joe Hupp. Ash, can you grab that for our
Well-
next meeting?
I think I got it.
Oh,
I
Yeah,
gave it
all
to
right.
him.
Yeah, and my thing is, is like, if I own a business and I start giving services away for free, eventually the people that pay for it, are gonna see lesser quality. And that's kind of the way I see this here, is that, we start going outside of Stuart and providing a free service that the citizens of Stuart are paying for, through the taxes and stuff. And then we get another call and possibly we don't have anybody here to staff it. We may, but if we're at a minimum, if it was $100, that doesn't even cover the cost of a driver or the two people just to go out, that's a bare minimum. Just to say, hey, thank you for your service. And yeah, maybe we got a $2,500 donation, but is that gonna be yearly, monthly, quarterly? Do we know?
Well, some of like when we go to Diamond Head, they do that, like and when we respond, the service area we have in Adair County, like the Menlo service area and ours that's south here, the Adair County is required, their townships are required to give us money. Guthrie County, not as much, it's kind of hit and miss, but.
I'm just saying any little bit helps. It's not gonna offset
I
the cost
agree.
of a new unit, but anything's gonna help, and maybe it makes it a little bit more palatable to people living here that, hey.
And it's been working it's been working for Joe. And he's, running the entire Guthrie County except for,
I understand that, but I think Sean is right when you say that the towns that Joe covers, that Panora covers, are so limited. They don't have anybody else to go with. And I think that now if we're gonna start implementing fees, it's a catch-22 because you're gonna then start, Adair, Casey, they're gonna run straight to Greenfield and we're gonna lose all of what revenue we do and what transfers we do get from them. Maybe Menlo won't make that decision, but they may say, okay, Adair is gonna give us a free thing and then you lose all that transport money. You gotta weigh
But there's
your
no
odds
such
there.
thing as a free
yeah,
service.
well,
They're
Well, I'm
just-
not
I mean,
saying that, but-
Bernie will
but-
tell you there is.
Yeah, I know.
Menlo's giving us money. It's not like these people are not giving us money. They're giving us money. You may not just see it, but I think if you start charging them a fee and that they're gonna drop our service and then our revenue is gonna drop.
And
And I know
everything-
that Sean's been working very hard at keeping a medic, an EMT and a driver. So that way we do have options to have a second out ambulance if we should need it.
And that kind of brings up another point is that, if we go to Menlo or Casey, for example, those are probably the biggest two, or Dexter, and say, we're gonna respond, well, then what happens when we don't have a second out and they need a unit? Well, now we just charge them $100 and we can't even go. So then we would have to increase our, make sure that we have that available to them all the time.
Charge them $100 unless you do respond. So if they call and we don't respond, there's no charge, right?
So is it,
Theoretically, but I
I
mean.
mean, there wouldn't be. I mean, we
Right,
wouldn't
yes,
charge,
yes.
right?
we're making this too complicated.
I know.
You can't ask for something unless there's an expense associated with it, such as that. Our taxpayers have the expense of this department, and we have, limited revenue sources, and that gap grows every year. We just did raises last year. We had cost of insurance that goes up. So I mean, if we're asking for a little bit of, what is the cost of a call for everyone just to leave that building for that hour, even if they don't respond? It's at least $100, right?
If they don't transport.
Yeah, if they don't
We
transport,
just
sorry.
drive out there
But do
and
you
back.
charge everybody for the fire department every time they get called out?
Yeah, they have a billing
Well,
process, right?
not
Yes.
all the time.
Yes, we have to bill every time.
So I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with replicating what Joe's.
I think it would
I think
be,
it'd be worth bringing up to them. I'm
But
just.
there's nothing, to me, there's nothing to bring up because we're offering a service to other communities. And it's our service that our taxpayers are paying for. It's kind of a, if we leave to go do that, have to have a backup, then we're incurring more expense to have a backup, planning for a call outside of our city limits. So, I mean, we already have additional expenses incurred because of this and not charging. What's the transport rate? 50%?
Like, and what we
Generally.
get in return.
Just generally. How many calls do you transport?
I think last fiscal year was 53% of calls.
So 47% of the time, and that's not, because you could probably bill for some of it. I'm just saying that portion of the calls outside city limits is an expense back to taxpayers to have to adjust those things. And to me, I don't think if I'm a council member in YJB in Panora and they're asking, to me, I'd vote for $100 fee because we're offering our taxpayers a rescue service. So I mean, I don't see any negativity of
They
it,
don't have a choice to go anywhere else.
but it's not about a choice. It's to me simple that if I'm in Yale, Bagley, or Jamaica and they're able to offer a rescue service from Panora, $100 per call, billable. I don't know whether the city pays that. Does the city pay that, Mike? Do you know?
I
Or does-
believe the city does.
or does
I
the-
think he collects it from the city.
Okay, so this
And
isn't
then
even this isn't even to the person that's
Transportee would pay for the
Right.
transport
Okay.
on it, and I know, I mean, we realize that if you approach somebody and say, hey, could you pay us $100 for a call, they may rush off and want to go to Greenfield and put their citizens at risk, for a 20-mile trip, from Greenfield or however far it is. I guess that's their choice. Then if we just stay in Stuart, we're providing for what our taxpayers pay for, is what I'm saying. I don't have any problem going over there. It's just like, I know donation's good. We're thankful for that. Anything helps, is that going to be consistent? If we charged them $100 a call and they only ran 18 calls over there, then they saved $700. We could look at it that way, I don't know. It's just, I think we owe it to our citizens to be able to say, hey, you don't have to just foot the bill for everything. I'd love to, but I mean, I suppose we could raise taxes.
Sean, is this
But that's-
something that you could kind of look into over the next month and kind of gather? I mean, I don't know how many calls you actually go out of town versus in town.
I mean, and that would take me an hour to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, is this something
For
that maybe you
but,
could compile and kind of come back next month or in a couple months and
I could.
give us your thoughts?
We just, I've got some contacts, for other rural, counties that do similar things, A lot of counties have one central EMS agency and then they go out through the whole
I
county.
mean, I'm sure you weren't
Madison
expecting
and
that tonight, so maybe,
Okay,
gathering some thoughts and coming back and discussing that piece of it. And we
okay,
can work through it.
we'll go back now to subdivision and see which is
Motion.
the
I
count.
mean, I would like to look at this for August.
Yeah, I had a note to come back in August.
Yeah,
Is that okay to come back in August with that piece of it and kind of
because
give us your thoughts and what you found out?
aren't we staffing for 2 responses at this time, 2 calls? You can have 2 simultaneous calls.
Yes, that's the goal. That happens, that's becoming more frequent, yeah. So it's not 100%.
No, I know,
but
yeah, and that's fine to do so, like I said, I mean, you know, this is and this is long overdue, I'm
Yeah.
not saying we shouldn't do this, I'll be the first one to vote for it, make the motion for it. We're looking at $160,000 rescue unit, and we do need to buy that, but for us to ask for $100 fee call when it goes outside to another community is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it.
And I'm not saying that, you know, and I didn't talk to you about this, you know, or whatever, so I don't wanna take forever, but I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with what Joe's doing, I think we should do it here. Regardless of the
Well,
call.
he'll
distribution.
look into it for the next August meeting,
That's a good
Okay.
point. That's a
and
good
we'll
point.
have to have a
So
motion
now
on the
you will allow him to, he explained last month that for approving this is not really a commitment to buy. It's just getting on the list, so he can get it sooner than
mean-
I
later.
did want to ask you on this. I know it said not included in pricing, striker cot and power load. Wasn't that something you were hoping to get?
No, honestly, no. Well,
Okay.
it's the power load part of it is, like, I don't really want a power load, that's really helpful. I do really like the technology a lot of services around here have it. The problem is that adds probably, I would say a minimum $3,000 to $5,000 a year plus $30,000 to buy and install. So do we need that? Is it for 200 some transports a year? Is that really beneficial to us? I think that
Yes.
in a cost versus usefulness standpoint, so instead of a power load, they have a performance load, and so what that is it's rated for like rollovers and higher strength than the way we currently use, which is the 2 horns and the 1 lock, and it charges the battery and stuff like that. So it's like a mid-range, but the cot requires almost no upgrading, and it's
And that's in this price, what you're talking about?
it's pre-wired for it.
Oh, okay.
The actual load system is not. We can put the one we have into the cot or into the ambulance when we get it, and then, you know, go through and perhaps, you know, get a grant or, you know, buy it at some other point.
Kind of later.
But like I said, the performance load, you can buy and install for less than $10,000. So,
All right.
an upgrade the cot included. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have a power load, and if we have
I get it.
more funds, you know, but it just.
That's our conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll,
So we just.
Yeah,
need a motion.
I made a motion, I'll second.
Yeah, make a motion, then subject to the finance.
Okay,
Finance
motion by Belden,
availability.
second by Cobal. How do you vote? Belden?
Yeah.
Renzo?
Yes,
Cobal?
Yes.
Thanks, sir.
thank you,
Sean.
Sean.
Just
Thanks
have
for
one
putting
more.
this together.
Oh,
Thanks
go
for
ahead.
putting that
He's got
together.
one more thing.
You're welcome. So after we sign the contract, if within 30 days we pay 50%, I don't know how that looks as far as how the financing is going. If we pay 50%, we get a $2,500 discount off this 157. So it's just something to
But if we,
consider.
I
but if
don't
we
think-
put that in a bond issue, the interest cost will be a lot more than $2,500.
I'm just making
No,
sure that
it's
you guys
fine.
were aware of
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so.
Thank you. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Okay, 11. Utility franchise fee, this time, open the public hearing. Did you receive anything on that?
No.
Any comments, concerns from the general public?
Uh,
Yes, Warren.
Has anybody talked to Mid-American? Has anyone talked to Mid-American Energy about the conditioning or granting an additional franchise on them providing natural gas service south of the interstate? Had several businesses that we've, missed an opportunity on because we don't have natural gas down there.
So
Oh,
what
I
are
get
you, what are
what
you
you're
asking
saying.
us to do on this? Or what, I mean, what,
Telling Mid-American, we'd like to renew this franchise for another,
this is ours, we
25
initiated,
years.
we initiated this.
okay.
So I mean, it's more beneficial.
I don't know how much leverage you have,
We don't have
but I
any.
would at least broach the topic.
Yeah, no, I understand,
We
yeah.
could do a
Yeah.
lot, and it would help the existing businesses if they had natural
that's
gas.
something that
Someone
we
from
can open for
Mid-American
discussion.
should be here. I
Okay,
think because of what's going on the interstate,
They're
there's a
behind.
delay. So let's wait, when he gets back, maybe we can ask.
that's my public comment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, this is,
okay.
this
I
is
would,
just,
every
that's a good
time
thought.
we get an opportunity,
yeah,
just bring it up.
this is just a
Okay.
franchise fee.
Yeah.
We're shifting, agreed to do this to lower property taxes, because this is cheaper.
I just saw it on the agenda.
Sure.
No, That's good, that's
No,
good.
it's a good
It
thought.
might
I
be
think
here
every time
soon.
it comes up, we should.
It
Lawyer,
might be
lawyer,
here
you guys
soon.
can figure that one out.
Thanks, Warren.
Thank you.
So we don't
Close.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
close the public hearing then.
Yes.
And then ordinance number 2105C.
Okay.
And we're just gonna do the first reading on this
Yes, that's right. We need a motion.
Make a motion.
one.
Move
Moved
by
by Caldwell,
Caldwell.
Second.
second by Belden. How do you vote? Belden?
Yeah.
Renslow?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Okay. Number 12, resolution number 2118C for the tax.
We got
Hotel
increase,
motel.
yeah, from
Possibly
5
increase.
to 7
Have to be on
on the ballot.
November's
Yes.
ballot.
You need a motion?
Need a
Okay,
motion.
so,
Moved by
just so
Col-
we're clear, sorry, this
Okay.
does not, if this would not go forward, it
Yeah,
does not drop the existing.
Yeah.
We made sure of that.
the way we,
Rick did the
yeah,
language, so, and he's double, triple checked. So
okay,
when we did the Adair sales tax at 1%, there was a sunset on it, and the first time we voted, the sunset would have expired, and so had we not gone back to the ballot, changed the language, then, every other town in Adair County voted to remove the sunset. So there was, obviously that'd be problem.
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
Moved by Caldwell.
Cobal, second by Belden. How do you vote? Belden?
Yep.
Renslow?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Okay, 13, All Saints Edition payment, number 15.
First.
So we're getting there.
It's a great start.
So, we have a couple concrete panels that, need to be replaced. They're replacing those tomorrow. We got the streets cleaned up, we got some erosion control put up, and there's some riprap issues that need to get fixed, but once those are taken care of, we should be done. So, they're working on those. This is a partial release of the retained interest as allowed by Iowa state law. We're withholding $10,000 still for the minor cleanup that's done,
Okay,
and $10,000 will cover what's left, but should be all done here another week. And then we'll come for final acceptance.
what do we got, about 10 basements dug out there now?
I think so, yes.
Oh,
Warren,
yeah.
how many lots are spoken for out there?
3 Horton Homes. Savannah's up to 9.
So about a quarter to a third?
12.
Yeah, 12.
That's good.
Wow,
That's great.
Does that include filling in those lots?
Filling in the lots is being done by somebody else, and they were actually going around and around, but that should be
Yeah.
done here this week
I
as
was
well.
gonna ask him where Jim's at.
We need a motion.
So
Just
can we
like-
do that subject to, I'm not familiar with what, everything that they're talking about, subject to like Jim, okay, and I don't want to cut this kind of money loose until those panels are done.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Jim reviewed this and.
No, I know, but I mean, like,
We're withholding $10,000.
I'm a pessimist, so if we cut this check to him tomorrow, there's holes in, I don't know.
But he said that whatever is left, whatever the defects are out there right now, the $10,000 that we are holding will cover to fix what,
yeah.
Not the
minor
handles, it wouldn't,
Yes.
it would.
yes.
Yeah, just a couple concrete panels.
They're huge. It's not a couple, I don't know. I just-
Yeah, it will cover it.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Okay, moved by Renslow,
I'll second.
second by
So
Cobal.
Jim's
Okay,
Yeah.
he's okay with
I
it.
talked to
Yeah.
Jim before
Okay.
he left.
Okay,
I just know we've had problems with them with like problems with the contractor with, getting them back to do, the grading and everything else with,
Yeah, no, we,
okay, so how do you go? Belden,
yeah.
Renslow,
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Okay, 14, sanitary sewer. Need 2 motions on this one.
Yeah, one motion will be enough, but you
Talk
want to
about
approve
that.
the certificate of completion? Or?
yeah, they're done with the work and, this is final payment and,
Just to bring together.
Yeah,
so yeah, it would be a motion, it could be one motion if you
one
want.
motion for both.
For both.
Okay,
So, sorry, I'm just asking, what all does this include? Just the 17,000, is that the acceptance?
There's, there's 17,000, it's also paying, it's paying about $18,000 now, it's approving paying another 12,700, 31 days,
Okay.
later, and it's accepting the project. And this is for the project of lining the sewers, fixing the sanitary sewers, on the north side of town.
Okay, so make a motion for A and B.
Okay, moved by Belvin.
Second,
Second by Renslow. How do you vote? Belvin?
Yeah.
Renslow?
yes.
Kaba?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 15, Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, they approved this and they don't wanna approve it anymore, so
What does that mean?
that's,
What
that's
is
what I
it?
got back.
But it's like a temporary,
Was not temporary. It's
It was just
it's
like,
a-
I talked to the mayor about it and
It's a storage, it's a metal storage unit
Yeah.
where Laurel lives. I can see in a wooded area, but Woody's objection is if you go along on Division, you have metal unit, metal unit, metal unit, metal unit, not with a pitched roof or anything like that. I think if we do approve this, it should be case to case, so we're not setting a precedence saying, oh, everybody can go get one of these storage units, put it at their place.
But P and
They're
Z
20
approved
foot.
it?
Huh?
P and Z
what does
approved
our
it?
code say?
yes,
Yeah.
B and Z
Forward it
approved
through.
it.
What's our code say about
Well, that's,
it? Like, does it
that's,
even talk about
I don't
They
know.
wanna put it in the code where it's not allowable anymore.
They
It's
want
not-
to,
it's
they
not
want to
in there
modify
yet.
the zoning code.
it? That's, but I.
So
wanna
once-
do that?
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
we
Absolutely.
amend the code?
That's what P and Z's telling us that, right? I mean, that's what they're.
So that would be for everybody, just not case by case, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Because once you do case by case, I think we're throwing ourselves into a, well, how come you did theirs and not mine,
Right.
So we're amending the code to deny it in the future. Deny.
That's
in
what
the-
P and Z's telling us.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna take their recommendation? I guess
Accept the recommendation and amend the code to deny it in the future.
I mean, we got one at the sale barn right now and she'd be other, I don't know if there's any others in town or not.
So kind of reading the letter, that kind of almost says that, they are asking us to amend it or change it
Yeah.
with a sloping roof, to
Yeah.
have a sloping roof on it. I mean, that'd be the only way.
Yeah, we clarified with them and we
Let's
got,
just get let's just, normally, P and Z will work with, Brick on this, and they'll pull codes from other communities, and then,
still correct.
yeah, pick the ones that they want, and then P and Z makes another recommendation on the modifications back then.
My understanding is they let this one go, they
Yeah.
approved
Yep.
it, but we want us to amend the code to deny it in the
And
future.
that's the way I do it. I mean,
That's how
That's
you
what they
want.
wanna do, that's their.
Okay.
So if you're okay with that.
I mean,
we need
Yeah,
a
that's
recommendation.
fine. I mean, it's
You're
not
all right with that,
changed
Mike?
yet, so, I mean, we have no
You know
basis
what,
to
they want
deny
my
it.
kinda, they okay with
They
this
want us to
case?
approve this one and
Yes.
then possibly change it,
And
and then
then,
possibly we don't change it. And we just.
No, we
approve the
do,
one.
we just.
But I mean, it's possible, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
Not really.
yeah.
Well, it is.
I mean, you're going against the P and Z, then.
Well, I mean, yeah, I understand. Anyway, that's. just
It's
my-
kinda
I-
tricky
I
a
get
little
it.
bit, but.
I know, it's fine.
I know,
So if you're okay with that, that's really what you were asking, kinda.
Sure.
They let this
Yeah.
one go and then that's it. In the future, they don't wanna deal with it. It's in the code that it's,
No, it's okay.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Motion
Okay.
made.
so moved.
Moved by Renslow,
Second.
second by Kaba. How do you vote? Belvin?
Yep.
Renslow?
Yes,
Kaba?
Yes.
Okay, 16, Chief Reha. And Daniel.
except for all this extra.
Just as an update on the road, it's completely blocked, so sounds like
That's what I was guessing.
there's people stuck in between Dexter and here that are coming to the meeting, they probably won't be here for a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of gathered that's why there was so much traffic and.
What's that at, Dave?
It's right outside here.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Katie, I just talked to her, she said that Steve Brick's sitting right next to her on the interstate, so,
Oh.
so, just for an update.
Yeah,
Where's our four-wheelers with the fire department? Go get them.
Rescue. Well, we want a helicopter, so no, I'm just kidding, that's not where
Oh, wow.
I told, didn't I tell you that 2 years ago?
All right, so, Daniel came to me a couple months ago and asked,
about restarting the K9 program. So he's been working pretty hard the last couple months, putting some things together, looking at research, getting kind of all the check boxes checked out, for the K9 program. He gave you this in the packet. I don't know if you guys all had a chance to read through it and review it. I can just say from being here when we did have a K9 program, it was a very valuable program. It helped us on lots of areas, whether it be search warrants, traffic stops. The school loved it. It gave us the ability to do checks at the school way more often than we can right now. So the school district's been kind of asking us the last couple of years what was going to happen with it. Really, I don't have anything that I can think of that's bad with the program. I mean, it worked great for us, but I know you guys probably have questions, and we want to make sure that we get your blessing before we go out and start trying to raise money for this.
And Dave, did you say the biggest problem, if you stop somebody and the next K9 is 150 miles away, you can't hold that person?
There's some Supreme Court case law right now that restricts officers from prolonging a traffic stop to wait for a K9 unit. So even if Guthrie has a K9 unit, but we don't, legally we can't prolong that traffic stop to wait for Guthrie to show up and assist us. So but those types of things change all the time. There could be new rules next year that make that easier or make it harder for us. The main thing that I think we have to consider is we're on the interstate. Drugs that are getting brought in here, our noses are only so good, but a dog's nose is a million times better than ours. So a dog, the way it was described to me last time we went through the system or tried to get the program going, you and me, if say you have a hamburger right here, we smell hamburger. That's all we smell. A dog smells the bread, the sesame seeds, the lettuce, the ketchup, the hamburger. So their nose works differently than us. They can pinpoint specific smells, which an officer obviously can't do. So they're able to tell us if there's a substance in a locker at a school, in a car, on the street, in a search warrant where we're there for 6-7 hours going through this entire house. That dog can pinpoint something and say, hey, it's right here. So it helps us out in that way too. Last time, which is very similar to how we're looking at doing it this time, we asked the community to donate. We went to businesses, citizens, and very quickly had raised the money to get the program going. So that's our hope this time as well. And Daniel's been looking into a grant too as well, so he could talk a little bit about that if you guys have questions on that. But just wanted to make sure you guys didn't have any questions, and Daniel's here to answer any of them.
Who's gonna be doing the training of the dog?
Midwest K9 is who we went through last time. They're out of, technically Altoona, Pleasant Hill.
Yep.
And
So
who's gonna be the handler?
it'd be Officer Irving.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
So Midwest K9, the guy that runs it, he's a retired Polk County deputy. He ran the K9 program there for years for the county, and he was also a handler. When he retired, he went into dog training. One of the unique things about what he does is instead of getting dogs that are bred for this, he goes out and looks for rescue dogs that have a really strong work drive, which cuts the cost for us. So instead of going out and getting a purebred $10,000, $12,000 dog, we can get a dog from a shelter that he's worked with, for half of that price. So it saves us the cost, but the dog isn't any less efficient at its job. I mean, really, any dog can be trained to do this if it has that drive. So he's kind of an expert on figuring out what dogs have that drive and then working with those specific dogs to train them. He would also then train Officer Irving. He's got a very good track record with us where when the last K9, if we had issues or we needed to get retrained or maybe the dog was lacking in a certain area, he's more than willing to let us come down there and do training, which is great having that local resource. It's close instead of going, I mean, some of these companies are even overseas, they send you the dog trained, but then what happens if the handler's having issues? So it's kind of nice to have them close.
So, the last dog we had, Chloe, correct? And we had her for 7 years. And, some people, I don't think a lot of people know this. It wasn't that she like just quit being used. She had to retire for medical reasons. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So that's why it kind of died off the last time. So, the only question I have is, after you have the first service or the first dog, and then you continue to do this, do you have to do more extensive training with the next dog, or is it just simple training because you've already had that training?
Yeah, so it'd be if you're talking about if.
If
I
you
would
go to
get
a
this
second dog,
and then get
yep.
another dog down the road after she retired, whether medical reasons,
Mhm.
whatever the reason may be. If we're in a position to do that and get another dog, it'd be the same amount of training because you have to, what happens is he partially trains these dogs. So this dog that I looked at, that I provided the picture to you guys, she's partially trained. If we decide to secure her, then her and I go through that training together, so we
okay.
learn each other. So it'd be the same process again. So I would learn that next dog too.
Okay.
And then they're more receptive to you as the handler, and you kind of see how they do.
And we had that happen too with Chloe, not that this is gonna happen with Daniel, but, you know, when we first got Chloe, Mike Allgreen was the handler. After several years, he wanted to give it up and Ryan wanted to do it, so, when we had to retrain, or we had to train Ryan and retrain Chloe, Dennis down at Midwest Canine covered that for us. He allowed them to go down there, do the training. So he's a big firm believer in keeping that dog going and working. So he's more than willing to work with us on getting new officers trained on the dog or vice versa. An existing officer trained on the new dog.
Do you know a success rate of these dogs?
I couldn't tell you. That'd be a question for Dennis. I do know that are you talking success as far as how well they could smell or?
Yeah, so how often when they hit on a car that there's actual drugs in it?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I can kind of, that's one thing I did talk to him. When I went down and toured his facility, I mean, we had like a 3-hour conversation. I got to meet all these dogs. He has 4 dogs currently. That was one thing I asked him, and it's kind of one of those things that it's hard to judge because at the end of the day, this is a living, breathing thing just like us. So, I mean, you wake up, you go to work, you could have a bad day every once in a while. That dog could have a bad day every once in a while. Other days it could do great. And, you know, it could just have a great day all around. At the end of the day, it is a living, breathing thing, but to actually pinpoint, to say, before you even go through training with this dog and say it's gonna have this percentage of a success
No,
rate.
this is an in general type, not just your specific dog, but
Okay.
in general, you know, what's the success rate, you know, because they have a success rate, they have a failure rate.
Sure.
You know, on this, and you know, I'm not for it, you know, I'm just, you know, in this day and age, I think, you know, the questions need to be asked at least, you know. Where dogs have been hitting on vehicles because their handler treats them in a certain way when they do hit on them, you know, so we can avoid, you know, upfront, try to get that addressed and make sure that doesn't happen here in Stuart, you know, so we do get the confidence of the community and the school and the people that live here, that stuff isn't gonna happen.
I do know that, I mean, obviously it depends on the dog, right? I mean, one dog's gonna be better than another dog. So I don't think there's any way for us to say specifically, here's the percentage. But they are very strict on keeping track of the record for the dog. So when the dog is trained, anytime that dog is utilized, there's a log that's filled out, whether it's successfully. So, you know, we're on a traffic stop, he runs the dog around the car, the dog indicates to the presence of narcotics, but then we don't find anything. That actually gets logged in the log book that the dog indicated, but we didn't find anything. And then vice versa. If we do find something, or the dog didn't hit on the car, but we ended up finding something in the car. So that's all kept track of, and they have to keep records of that. And then also once a year, the dog has to be certified. So the dog goes through a process where it proves its skills. They set out, you know, different scents. The dog runs through, and it has to be, I can't remember if it's a certain percentage, but it's pretty high, you know, like 95%. The dog has to successfully hit on those, and then pass the ones that don't have the scent. So that way, once a year, we're proving that this dog is still working efficiently. We're not, you know, just making these things up. We have that proof that the dog is.
Good, I appreciate that. That's kind of what I was looking for, you
There
know,
was one
just to
more
get
question
an
I
idea.
had. On the equipment, you said you're gonna use the Tahoe.
Mhm.
You guys use that Tahoe now, right?
It's, as far as right now, it's kind of like our backup
Okay,
vehicle if
because,
we need it, and
yeah, the radio isn't, I take it it's not the 700,
no.
so it can't,
Mhm.
so you can't properly use it.
No, we don't have any communication in right now. The radio stuff, I'm working with Motorola right now. I've been talking to one of their grant people, and we're trying to get, because we had talked to Ash last year about the other 3 radios that we need. And I get that that's an expense. We're trying to save as much as we can. But we were already planning on securing 3 radios this year somehow. And that I talked to Ash about
And
that
that's for each one
last
of
year.
the vehicles.
So they're all roughly the same amount. So the portables and the mobile units are about the same price. So with that 3rd radio, we would be able to put a radio in the Tahoe. So we were already planning on doing that anyways. It wasn't gonna be added to this, but it does need to be added before we can
Yeah,
use
that's
that
where I
vehicle.
was gonna say, that's where I was going with that is,
Yeah.
even if this doesn't work out, I mean, I would like to be able to see you guys have the proper radio in that
Those-
Tahoe, just in case you may need it in the future.
700, okay.
So the reason it's not on this list is because it was an expense that we were gonna incur regardless of this program.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it wasn't on there, but.
Yeah.
Were you hoping to raise the full startup amount through donations and stuff? And you're hoping to do that, but if not, come back and talk to us about what you need to, something like, I bet you're pretty comfortable. But, well, I mean,
I was gonna make a comment, but you were ahead of me.
okay,
That program last time was very, very successful because it was self-sufficient.
okay.
And I'm hoping it will be
sure it will
self-sufficient
be.
again because it can be very expensive.
Oh, no.
So
I
they
would
did a
hope
good job last time getting it self-sufficient. They didn't ask for money and everything was moving very well.
Yeah.
I appreciate.
Okay.
To that
So
point,
essentially what the
To
plan
that
would
point,
be,
how much did you raise last time, Dave?
it was like $10,000 or $11,000
So they raised
within.
$10,000
within like a month or
towards
two.
this. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a large
Okay.
amount of money.
And the
But
Stuart
the-
Herald will help you again this year.
Yes,
We
yes,
helped with that last year, so we will
Yes.
put that in every week. We put something in the paper to
yes.
help with this, because I do think it's great that we have one. And I would like to help support, get anything we can out there. to help
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Is
Thank
that like,
you.
do you guys just put an ad in the paper
So,
saying if you wanna
You
help
give them that
donate?
letter? So we haven't done any advertising, obviously, we wanted to talk to you guys, but I can say right now, just from people that have reached out to us, we probably already have 1/3 of that secured. Once we advertise, we're hoping that that goes up. We'd also be reaching out. There were some business partners last time around, insurance companies, national companies that ended up donating to us. So we're obviously gonna be reaching out to them as well. And any of the local businesses. The other thing that we did last time, and we're planning to hopefully do again, we're gonna utilize local businesses where we can. So if the vet clinic can help us out with something and they're willing, awesome. We'll
Can we
gladly
also
take
ask
that.
Casey's, McDonald's and
Sure.
Comigo?
Oh, exactly,
Carl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the, there's a lot of capital flight in the millions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So what we would do is we'd start passing that letter out. It's got a donation thing on the second page. It's a very similar letter to the one we did last time. And then they just send it back. Obviously, we're not gonna go get this dog until the funding is there, but Dennis is willing to hold that specific dog for us for a short term to let us, go out and do some fundraising.
Do you want this back, Dan?
That's a copy. You guys can
Okay.
have it.
Well, I like the initiative of doing that, and going out and raising funds. I just,
Doug Beach would probably be the right.
the school's
contact.
letter's no indication that they got a problem going on out there, is it? I hope not, but.
No, I think it's your ongoing, I mean, every community faces it, but, and honestly, just the deterrent factor alone out of
Sure.
the school.
Okay.
If a kid knows the dog is gonna be going through that any time because the city has one, they're gonna be less likely to bring drugs to school.
But nobody announces that, you guys just show up one day, right?
Random.
Is that how that works?
They have some rules where they have to announce it before we do the search, but it's in a lockdown setting, everybody's, secure.
You're there, nobody leaves, nobody in, nobody out.
Do you need
Okay,
anything
we
from
need a
us, or
motion
just
to
a
approve
We're
motion?
just asking for your
I'll
blessing.
I'll make a motion.
If you approve it, we're gonna start handing that letter out and start raising money.
Okay, moved by Mike, seconded by,
Renslow, how do you vote? Belvin?
Yeah.
Renslow?
Yes,
Cobal?
Yes.
Dave, I got one question on that. You've made 3 or 4 significant drug busts lately, and you had to go through this bedroom here and there. That dog would be a real asset, wouldn't it?
Oh,
Save you
it's
a
like
lot
cut
of
down
time.
time when you go through those, cause you can just let the dog go and.
The last big search warrant we did a couple months ago, probably, we had 4 officers there for 12 hours. That's a lot of man hours, especially when 2 of those officers don't even work that day, they're on their own time. So you bring that dog in and it can pinpoint where the drugs are within 10 minutes and we're out, so, it definitely helps us.
And Dave, can you mention the date of your deal up the park? August, is it?
It'd be the
Third or-
first Tuesday, this,
What day is it?
let's look at the calendar. So it'd be the third.
August.
Is this the, what do you guys call it, the police night out?
The
or
national night out.
National night out.
They're supposed to have bounce house and
Yep.
drunk driving goggles and marijuana
Yeah.
goggles for kids to try.
Yep,
And
Katie's got some surprises and all sorts of stuff, so.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Time on. Thank you, guys, and thank you, Daniel, for taking the
Thank
time
you.
to do this.
17, economic development proposals. You
So,
doing this, Brian?
Yeah, there's not a lot of standardization when you're doing downtown grants for revitalization, so. There's a couple of them that have popped up since COVID's kind of slowed down. Andy Force, we've been trying to work with for the last couple of years. So I'd like to refer a few of these to the bond council. Again, no expense to us at this point, but just to at least get his ideas on what are possible and how we can incent folks. One of them is Andy. The other one, it's Matt and Mike Tiernan, and then Miller Plumbing. And then I'd also there's a couple of them that have come up that I'm not sure if they're gonna actually move forward or not, but I'd like to and others as they evolve
Okay.
to discuss between now and August with the bond council.
Okay.
And normally, like I said, Kristen did a lot of the stuff, so,
Right.
it's important to have a business background, as we do these, but.
Need a motion.
I
Need a
know,
motion
okay.
to refer.
Anyway, so I just throw it at him, see what the guy says on it.
Yeah, because this is not obligating us to do anything,
No,
just to
no,
get
no.
an idea.
But next month, it very well could, the
Right,
requests may,
But at least we know.
yeah.
But this at least allows you to start talking to them to
Right.
start getting the process rolling,
Right.
if it should come up.
Need a motion.
So it's, if we just put in the motion, Forrest, Tiernan, Miller, and others as they evolve.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yes.
Good.
A motion by Cobal,
Second,
second by Renslow. How do you vote? Belden?
Yeah.
Renslow?
yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Okay, 18. Employee compensation, Mike?
Okay, so last month, in discussing the raises, we talked about the need for performance reviews for the city employees. I handed out a couple samples. This is no way set in stone, just kind of give you an idea of some performance appraisals. My idea on this type of thing would be to form some sort of compensation committee. The employee reviews should be handled by that person that has supervisory power over those people. So it'd be like Nation Dick would have to do the police, then have to come back. Again, this is just a work in progress, But again, I think the formation of some sort of compensation committee to discuss it and get something together would be good. So
And can we also involve the department heads with this so they can look it over and kind of give their input?
Yeah.
Jim, Dave,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know,
how,
Sean, Josh.
that's how it works. I would sit with Mike and show you what I use.
You got your own
Yes,
forms already.
Yeah, kind of,
Okay.
because I can't show that ENF on the.
right,
public.
I've never seen one. I saw one like very briefly.
Yeah,
So,
it's very similar to what you have.
okay,
Yeah, so I'll sit with you and then we can talk about the process, of how we implement it. I'm gonna show you here, because it's a public meeting, so that's kind of.
no,
It's the same, similar to what you have.
Dave, do you guys do a performance on your officers, like for their files, and then you hand them to
So we'll
Ash?
sit together
We don't-
and kind of implement it with the
Ask what they're going through the process.
Yeah. And I will sit with the mayor too regarding the police and all the stuff, try to give him some of those samples.
Did everybody get this? Or just me?
I don't know what that is.
Speed sign?
You,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, just I have, okay.
Yeah.
I'll wait on public.
Those ones like
comment.
Memo and
I would sit with you.
So we don't need a motion on it.
No,
Talking about the ones like Memo and Dexter
Yeah,
have.
I mean, I'll do that in public forum.
yeah. Okay.
Are we done
No,
with 18?
Is he
no,
coming
no,
or, oh,
we
wait,
gotta go
is that
back
him that
now.
just pulled in?
So-
I don't know if
So
that
wait a
works
second,
right.
wait a second, we're kind of moving on really fast here.
Yes,
Let's brought
go
this up and then we're just gonna, well, I'm just gonna sit with you. So what are we gonna do?
I
I'm
thought
fine.
you were
I
just
think it's
gonna
a
work with Ash and
think
come
it's
up
a-
with a form and work with the department heads and then,
Yeah, I'm gonna
Come
show
back
you
with
the
a- I
process.
think it's good.
that-
If your proposal is the compensation committee and using, yeah, absolutely, I think that makes sense.
This is awesome. We
Right.
just wanna know how you want the process, because we need to go chain of command. I usually take it, I give it to the department heads go. So we take it from the top to the bottom.
Right.
So are you wanting a,
Yeah, I
are
wanna
you
show
wanting a
you-
motion to form a committee and work with Ash to evaluate?
Well, yeah,
this,
that's
or
what I
just-
was,
okay.
that's what I was
Yeah,
hoping
I didn't know if
for.
you're wanting a.
We're not, because, I mean, we're just sitting here saying, well, we'll get together and
Okay.
for some reason, sometimes that doesn't happen.
I want the mayor on that committee
Okay.
because of the police.
Oh, well, yeah,
So
that's
then-
what I
And then
said.
Needs to be
I want
you.
you on the
What's
committee.
your motion? What do you want your motion to be?
Committee, you wanna form a committee?
Yeah,
for
so
evaluation?
Okay, so I'm just saying, make your motion.
Well, that's what.
Okay,
Ask
well,
for
we're
it.
we're gonna see who. So we're gonna have the mayor. I would like to see
Me.
you, Kalbach and Brian. No?
I can, that's fine.
We need two
I don't
councils.
mind.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's fine.
Yeah.
So it
And
would
as long
be-
as the department heads are on it too, so that way.
yeah, I'm gonna show you the process. of it.
I shouldn't say department heads, the paid department heads that it's going to affect.
Right, the compensated
Yeah,
ones, yeah.
yes. Okay, so we have the mayor, Mike Kalbach, Christina Lins, committee.
Right, and then we can involve the,
Yeah,
Kind
and we
of
can-
work on the process of how we do
Compensation
it.
committee.
right.
And if we need
Okay.
to make revisions to Ash's form too, because I really,
Exactly, that's what I want
Exactly.
you to see.
I like that one.
Yeah, I'm
This
gonna
one,
show you
Because
mine,
this is kind of what we use at my work too, and I,
Okay,
and I'm gonna show you mine and then.
that's my motion.
Okay.
So that's your
There you
motion.
go.
Oh, that's
That's
your
why I was
motion.
like, I wanted.
So we got a second on
Thank
his
you.
motion then?
I'll
We need a
second
second.
Second by Renslow. How do you vote? Belvin?
Yep.
Renslow?
it. Yes.
Kabal?
Yes.
Okay, now we
Public
are
forum?
on 4 and 5,
Okay.
no, 4
Well,
and
we got
5.
one item.
Oh, 4 and 5, what are we doing on?
Okay, we already have on
Can
4,
we just put him on the phone since he's stuck?
yeah, on 4, we have that agreement that he gave us. If we're gonna put him on the phone if you want,
Yeah, we could.
yeah.
Well, I mean, he's stuck out there. I don't wanna,
If you're okay with the form that he gave us for the agreement,
yeah,
I
I
just
will,
keep seeing cars pull up.
we
I
need
don't
to-
know.
is that him?
no,
You wanna have a break a little bit, or
That's-
it's up to you, we'll take 5,
take a
10
5-minute
minute
break. That's
Yeah,
fine,
that's
then I
fine.
can.
Okay,
Okay.
let's take 5-10 minute break, but we can approve these things without, so,
Okay.
because he gave us the agreement.
Yeah, who knew that was gonna
As
happen?
long as Jason's aware of
It's
it.
bad.
Yeah.
Is it?
He just showed me a picture of, that Steve sent him from his car,
Well, she done.
of
Oh,
how far it's backed up.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Brian, let
Right?
me see that picture.
Oh.
It's not my kids.
No.
Did it show the accident, you mean?
I'm gonna call my kids. Anytime I hear an accident, I'm like, hey, how are you?
Yeah. Because he already gave us that agreement.
Oh, that's.
I brought
I don't
this.
know.
You got those?
No.
Well, I brought this if that helps.
Where you
That's
guys at?
the area that they need to see that they're looking to buy. Oh, okay. Okay.
You wanna give him the, you have a copy? I'm gonna get. I just wanna find it.
Oh, I got it. I have it here, Forrest.
Okay, okay.
That's pretty good, Steve. I just.
Yeah. Hey,
Super.
and give it back. Okay. Because if they approve it, it'll be up.
I don't know that. Okay, well, that's what I said.
I'm only walking with him. Oh.
And Paul Steinbach's the only one who's complaining.
I think
And then, Galliano, there's Steve there, and there's.
So I should show up.
I don't know how anybody else has been putting them out front, that's their, but this is not set in stone, we're going to revisit it next time.
Well, I don't know, I don't know.
Well, she
I don't know.
mentioned one.
Is that dog?
Yeah, I know.
Is that the dog guy you want to confirm? What's his name?
Mick brought it up.
What the name of that guy you want me to Give him the. Oh, that's. Talking to that beach, I remember.
Yeah, I know, that's all.
That picture of that semi was coming down one way and went over the median in the cable berries is on the other side of the interstate.
I didn't understand.
Is it cleared up now? or
No,
what?
they're still rerouting traffic through here.
If I'm leaving now, what?
Can't you see all these semis
Yeah.
coming down our road?
Should I go to Menlo?
No, I think they're diverting them off of Dexter, bringing them through Dexter all the way through here and then taking them back out on the interstate.
So can we clear them instead?
Oh, no, you can go, I think you can go east, you just can't come west.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, I wonder if you get home or not.
No, I
Yeah,
think you
just
can go,
ask.
I
No,
think
she
you
said
can go,
going west. Okay.
I think you're going east, you're fine, it's the west that they've shut down.
bring a cop, right?
Yeah.
Because you would see more traffic coming this way if you couldn't go. They better bring it back.
What?
Was that guy over by the window?
Right there, I just don't go in. I asked her.
Oh, that's funny.
That's one big
Very-
thing.
Oh, goodness. That's funny. Oh, no, Dave went. Dave said he was waiting on direction for us.
Yes, we are on TV.
Quit chewing your fingers, man.
Everybody left. Nobody wants to hear us anymore.
We satisfied our customers tonight.
It's not crazy. We don't, I mean, there's nothing to, there's no action to watch.
You're on TV.
What changed?
I still can't believe they called Ash before the meeting and was like, what's
Yeah.
gonna happen? I mean, it's just hard. Did you ask Ash why that is there?
Take a break. No, I get that.
Well, he told me he was coming back, Dick, but I did ask Dave and he said he was waiting for more direction from us regarding the follow-ups on the nuisance. Because I asked him about whose it's, Morrison's property over there in
Oh,
Sherman.
okay. And then,
On both of his, actually, because he had
Oh,
both,
yeah.
the one on the south and the one on the north that he asked for extensions.
and the camper on Sherman, I think that time's up,
Camper on Sherman.
right across from Shane. The junk, real, it's just tore apart camp.
Oh, you're talking about Todd Geisinger. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I just saw a truck go by.
I saw Richter's go out there, so they were,
Well, I thought I saw our unit 2 go by north.
a lot of them went through, but I don't know if they're just helping with traffic or what. But I know, I saw Richter's go out quite a while ago.
Really?
This is Mark Renders from Mid-America, and I've been listening to the call because of the franchise action. I've been sitting on the interstate since 6:15.
Oh,
I'm
no.
glad it's you, not me.
Yeah, so my apologies for not being at the meeting, but I don't know if we're ever going to make any progress. It's still blocked.
No, he's on the phone.
Yeah, he's on the
talking
phone.
interstate. So did you hear, well, are you gonna stay on the line?
Me?
Yeah.
Mark Renders? Sure. I was actually planning to come to City Hall if they ever get this opened again.
Then they can ask him about the thing that Warren was talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mark, Warren Varley was asking about doing this gas franchise, about extending it apparently on the south side of the interstate. A lot of
Yep,
business.
I heard part of that. There was a lot of background noise, so I was struggling to hear his specifics, but we can talk to you and anybody else about doing that.
Right.
Basically, the cost is usually borne on the people that are benefiting from the extension.
Right, okay, yeah.
So
And then,
I don't know if anybody's ever talked, got the specifics and said, okay, it's gonna be X amount of dollars to extend service that far.
yeah,
Or where the service is. I don't know where the service is close by, but
no,
we
I
can,
don't.
we can certainly take a look at it.
Okay, yeah, that's what his question was.
So,
Did you hear him? The guy from American says that they'll look into what can be done regarding warrants.
Extended it
Yeah.
on, so he's on the phone.
Steve's stuck up there still, and he's in the worst spot, 'cause it's right where the accident happened, so he can't get to Dexter, so we might as well, we call him if he needs something.
So,
Okay, well-
start up.
Okay,
Hold on, can we wait just a second? Dave's coming back in.
Oh, Dave huh?
okay. All right, go ahead.
We'll start back up again now.
Number 4.
4.
Okay, we looked at that agreement here. And if you're okay with it,
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
we need a motion to approve that.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Okay, moved by Renslow, and a second.
Second.
Second by Belden. How do you vote? Belden?
Yeah.
Renslow?
Yes.
Kavah?
Yes.
And then
Okay.
About the ordinance.
What about the ordinance?
ordinance?
The ordinance, that's the third reading,
Yeah. So
It's
this
the
is-
third reading.
yeah?
Okay.
So go to number
We can't do.
5. Yeah. Mike, you want it?
Make a motion.
Okay,
Moved by Belden,
second
second by Kavah, it don't matter. Okay, how do you vote? Belden?
Yeah.
Renslow?
Yes.
Kavah?
Yes.
okay, so now we're done, we'll go to public forum.
Um,
I have a couple items before we forget.
And I have one too.
Okay, we wanna schedule a special meeting 2 weeks from today, July 26th, would that work?
Yeah.
What time?
5:30,
Can we do
Yeah.
6?
6,
It's just the traffic on the interstate starting to pick up, so it's
Okay.
harder for me to get back.
6 PM.
When is that?
Okay, with you?
27th?
Okay, 7:26.
7:26
And,
at 6.
okay, the second item is, I've been working with Beverly Beverly on the Burger King issue. You're okay that we're continuing sending letters and all these things?
Well, that's a great point. So if we go to that statement or that report, just real quick, I don't wanna.
Is that a legal statement?
Sarah brought this up. It's fine, you look at the front, this is our standard budgeted amount. And then it shows in the back, and this is not, I mean, this is us requesting this work, and we revisited, we made this decision. But I mean, we're looking at just this month, 800 in extra charges for nuisance properties, which, I mean, the taxpayers pay, they expect our codes enforced, like, but I mean, at the same time, are there priorities we want her to work on and others that we should sit back and, do nothing on, or I mean, what's the deal? That one's, they're all over the board
She
like
just
that.
need clarification.
Yeah,
If
you
it's
know, I'm-
kind of okay with the council, we're gonna continue.
So I mean, the All Saints annexation thing is done, so that would drop
Wait,
800 down to 300.
Hold the line. Is it done?
The Burger King?
No, the annexation down at All Saints, because from what I read here, it looks like maybe there was,
I'm not sure if it's done or not. I have to check with
from
her.
what I read here, it doesn't look like it's done.
Yeah.
It looks like it was maybe goofed up and they're having, I don't know
Yeah.
quite yet,
Yeah,
but
it's still,
still
open.
going through.
yeah, it's still
Why
open.
is it open? Why would it be open?
I will ask her for clarification.
I mean, if you look at the entry from 628, it kind of, I mean, it says right there.
So,
So she just wanted something in the minute, say, yes, go ahead and continue on Burger King, that's it. So that's why I'm asking, it's okay with the council, I'm gonna continue with her on Burger King.
okay, so why don't we say that? I guess if we're gonna get rid of it, if you look at the cost allocation, we spent $813 on these. The 463 should go away because that annexation hearing was held and all the legal proceedings had happened, right? So 463 out of the 813 should go away, okay? So if you go into August, we only spent $70 on the Burger King property. So, I mean, that wasn't a big deal, but, I mean,
And isn't Mark Quinn starting to wind
that should
up?
wrap up.
Yeah, that's wrapping up.
Right.
So
So,
that's
And
it.
then Edwards is working on their property.
And I've seen him up there on the
Yeah.
weekends.
So
They're
why don't
working
we,
hard.
why don't we tell her to drop the Edwards one now for a while? Is that fair? I'm asking.
Well, I think so. If he's working on it, why not give him?
Give him a
chance to
30-day
work?
reprieve, so we don't.
Is that maybe something that he can communicate with Ash or somebody in City Hall just for updates to make sure
Right.
he's not stalling?
Versus an email that costs, us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
He did call this morning, asking if there were any grants available, and I didn't have any information on hand to give him, but
Add him
yes.
to the
Yeah.
list.
That's the
Yeah.
end of
First
it. There
tip.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll tell her to drop the Edward issue.
That we'll just,
City
that the
Hall.
city
Yeah,
can
we
monitor
don't
it for
wanna have
now.
No more expense on that.
Mark Quinn will let that fizzle out, right?
Okay, but I'm gonna go back to that Burger King. You want her to continue?
I mean, personally, I do, because it's.
Yeah.
the staff.
No, it's
We're all
becoming a
okay
truck
as a
stop. and
council?
it's-
As
'Cause
long,
I'm gonna- I
to
wanna
me,
get it
as
in
long
one
as this
minute.
other one is dropped off, it's 463. If she's done with the All Saints deal for seed, then fine. I mean, I don't want another 463 and then we add Burger King to it, it's another $400 or $500, I guess.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'll communicate
Okay.
with her on that, but we will have her continue on the Burger King because that's another expense. Okay, is that the direction? I'll let her know.
And if there's, I mean, to me, it'd be nice to have the information, the probability of actually getting that place to change, whatever they're gonna do. I mean, are we gonna spin our wheels for 30 days and spend $500 on this deal and not get anywhere?
Yeah.
They closed down all these all over, I mean, wherever, right? So one person owns the land, one person owns the building, and one person leases it.
Leasing it.
So I mean,
Yeah, it's a
you're
long
not-
process.
yeah,
You know,
You're not gonna gain anything.
looking at this.
she's really good. I mean, she knows this process really well. She's done a
She
good
got an
job.
updated title report, which shows to me that she's moving forward because she's trying to look to see what other liens are on there and
Yeah.
which ways she can go. So, I mean, that's a big step
Okay.
there.
All right, I will have her continue with the Burger King,
Then we just
try
do
to
case by
drop
case.
Edward. And
So didn't she ask us this last month too? If she wanted us to continue, we said, yeah. I remember.
It
'cause she-
wasn't
think
in
she's
a
just
motion.
it
I
wasn't,
think she's just trying to be careful.
she's just
you know,
being careful. She
which-
doesn't wanna do something
But
that she's
that,
not.
I mean,
asked.
that's fine, but,
Yeah, and I told her that I will clarify, because I remember we talked
Right.
about it.
and I thought we told her to take it to
Yeah.
completion.
But I mean, if we have a 1% chance, if she gives us a legal opinion, we have a 1% chance of actually, making any progress. I mean, right now it's a parking lot, right?
Right.
Overgrown trees and bushes and property unmaintained, and if we have a 1% chance because of all these parties, we gotta spend $20,000. I mean, to me, I don't know what you do.
Okay. Take care of that.
Can we get I guess, should we ask her for an email and what
Update, email.
on that specific issue, because there's so many
On
parties?
the, on
Burger
the Burger King?
Yeah, because I mean,
Okay. I will get that done.
Okay, and I had Mike Morgan get a bid on speed cams. Menlo has them, Exira, Elkhorn, a lot of small towns have.
yeah.
Dexter, it slows people
Yeah.
down. The one over at Dexter, or Menlo, I mean,
Yep.
says 25 and it says thank you. I think it slows people down. It's well worth it, but it's in this next fiscal year budget there.
How much, do you know how much they are, or you're getting?
Well, it's
bid, you
got a
said?
price.
It's
right
got
there,
different
Mike,
price.
on
So-
different ones.
Do you have any input on those, Dave? I mean, do you find that they slow people down?
We've never had one here, so I don't know, but it seems to work.
I slow down when I see them.
Cheapest one's about $2,700.
Some people just think there's hidden cameras in there.
What I would suggest, I know they have portable ones that you can move.
Right.
So you can put it on any telephone pole, and then we can, use it where we think it's gonna be the best.
Oh, okay.
And if people start slowing down there, then we can move it somewhere else. A lot of the portable ones, they also keep like a log, an internal log in the computer. So it's not only telling you as a motorist to slow down, it's keeping track of every single car that passes it, so we can get statistics on it and say,
Oh, okay.
here's the fastest car that drove by this month, here's the slowest car, here's the average speed, those kind of things.
Kind of like that.
That'd be an idea.
Yeah, that,
Can
Can you give
you
a-
check a price on those, Dave, on the mobile?
Good.
There.
They're the same thing, they're built to be, big and medium.
Okay.
Anybody else have
Well,
anything?
I have something, but Steve's coming in, so
Oh, yes. Oh,
I
there
don't
it
know
is.
if he's got
Finally
anything
got
to
through.
say. So,
you
yeah, I
still
just
have-
got something real quick on these nuisance violations. I mean, I normally just keep an eye on them just to
Yeah.
make sure things are progressing, whatever, just for my own input. I did talk to Dave, Kingmore Properties, came to us clear back in April, May, or it was in April, and asked for an extension, and we gave him an extension, but it hasn't, he didn't comply within those timeframes. And for me, it's not so much him not complying with everything, it's the weeds are super tall, like they're taller than me on
okay.
top of the dirt mounds. So, I asked Dave if they had done any follow-up, he said he was waiting on direction, so, I mean, if we can
just
just,
like our mowing and everything else, take a picture and give it to Nadine, send him a notice.
yeah, I mean, we've already, I don't know what we gave him a notice for to begin with.
Well,
This was for the dirt.
The dirt around there, he's redoing the foundation. It's been
But he
over
said
a
he was
year,
gonna be
but-
done, this says May 7th, so, and I don't know if we have to follow back up with him and say, you didn't comply with your May 7th deadline, whatever.
I mean, we can just continue the process where we left off.
Okay.
So legally, we probably have to serve him again, give him the time limit if he doesn't comply.
Okay.
Is
Well,
that
whichever.
Ryan?
Huh?
Is that
It's Ryan
Yeah.
Morrison, but those
Didn't
weeds
we give him a 60-day on one and a 30-day on another? I
Yeah.
thought we gave him 60
in
on,
April.
was it April?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I've been by there once on June 1st and once just on yesterday, and the weeds on top of it, there's like the
Right,
dirt
okay.
piles, and then the weeds are taller than me. So if he could have just at least weed around the dirt piles and on the dirt piles, it might help, but
Okay.
otherwise, I mean, I didn't see
Thank you for
anything else, or
picking
thank you
this
for
up too in
keeping.
the last few months too.
And Hardman's on Division, they're cleaning theirs up. We give them a bit, clean up. They've done a lot. And Mumford's are cleaning theirs up. They got cars out front we might have to deal with there. Keep working on the pickup and then, like I say, the camper across on Sherman.
That
I
was
had-
my only thing.
I had one follow-up on the no parking on Southwest 7th. Here the other day, we had people parking out there again. So
Are the signs not out there yet?
South 7th by Casey's?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought we were gonna put signs up.
I think there is a sign closer to Division. I don't know if there's one.
I did
further
not
back
see any
before the
signs
curb.
out there. I see no parking along the curb, but it's in the parking lot. From not to park along the curb. That's what it looks like to me. It's on a pole in the parking lot.
I'd have to, I mean, I don't wanna say what, but I'm just thinking, I remember seeing a sign almost to the Burger King entrance that says no parking, but I don't think there's anything further west.
Are we talking about
No,
7th or 8th?
7th.
Oh, you're talking about 7th.
Yeah, 7th up by
Sorry, you
the
had me
Casey's,
confused.
I am,
truck
yeah,
park.
I don't think
There's nothing up there
And I thought
that I saw.
maybe we forgot to, maybe the
Maybe
disconnect
it's
was to
really-
tell Jim to put the signs there,
Yeah.
because I thought we talked about it.
We did last month and it was
Yeah.
like, we have to do something with the ordinance. And it's like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know why we have to change the ordinance to put a sign up.
Do you know,
Don't know if
Steve?
we did.
Do you have to change an ordinance to
really-
put no
the
parking
mayor was
signs
gonna
up?
talk to
You
CP.
don't
They
accept
have-
it to make it a crime or enforceable for the officers to issue the tickets. You need to have an ordinance saying no parking at that particular
But
location.
do we already have a no parking there?
there, I doubt it.
I don't know. You know, that's why I was kind of asking if somebody would look into that to find out and then.
Can we at least
follow
start by putting the signs up? Maybe?
That'll deter folks. I think your officers will probably want a code section.
No, I'm sure they will.
Issue citations.
Yeah.
The other thing I was gonna bring up about that, I did talk to the store manager out there, because we've got a lot of complaints with semis going straight through. They're not stopping. It's private property, so they would have to install stop signs on their own property, which we can't really enforce. But they seemed receptive to that, but I was wondering if we could get, maybe as the city, if we could contact someone higher up in Casey's and say this has become an issue, because there's been several almost accidents with semis right there. So they're going from the parking lot straight across to the fuel pumps.
From north to south.
Seriously.
They're not stopping.
Doug Beach would be the guy that came out from there that, he would be the guy that would be able to,
So
I bet
maybe-
you'd be fine putting stop signs up too.
You would
Somebody
think, yeah.
contact him?
So if we could just get a hold of him somehow and say, you know, we want to work with them on it, because it has become an issue, so.
And he would have the position to also respond on the fundraising as well on their behalf. So,
One other thing that I've seen, if we're talking about signs, is on Southwest 8. Shane Martinson and I both talked about how we've had quite a few cars that are flying up and down that road early in the morning, whether they're Wausau employees or whatever. I believe as of right now, well, actually, I know there's only a speed limit sign when you're heading east on Southwest 8. there's nothing when they're going west.
So we
So when
get
they
that
get off
changed,
Division,
too.
they start heading down toward Wausau. And I mean, there'd be that argument that, well, there's no signpost. So I figured while we're talking.
Can we make a
Can
note
you-
to have Jim work on getting some signs?
That's what I was gonna say, because before we put the sign, we have to have the either resolution or ordinance, like Steve
But if the
said.
signs are already out, the speed limit signs are already out
Yeah,
there.
speed limit, we just need a sign
Yeah, we just
Oh,
need more
yeah,
signs.
You can just get told
Yeah,
if,
can,
yeah.
can someone contact Jim about getting more? How many more do you think we need out there? 3?
It wouldn't hurt to have them every so often.
Is that something you can
That's
work
a
with
long
Jim?
stretch, yeah.
That you and Jim can work on?
Takes a quarter mile, doesn't it?
People use it as that.
Not that I know.
How fast can you go?
I will mention, since we're still in public or, open forum,
Yeah.
over the break, we just got $1,100 in donations for it, so. I
Wow.
don't know if they want to be named or not, otherwise I would give their names and
Yeah.
thank them, but.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's cool.
great to put them in the minutes. I mean, are they here or not?
No, they've all left, but
Can we?
you know one of them, so.
Yeah,
That's positive. Let's recognize it.
so yeah, it was my parents that, so Greg and Christy Irving, they donated $1,000. The other,
Our boss donated 100.
So-
Good.
Yeah, that's
We
good.
put that
So
in
we
the
just want
minutes.
to thank them.
Like I said, it's a very successful program,
You can put their names.
You'll have,
Yeah,
you'll
exactly.
have
At
forms,
least
right?
recognize them.
So if
That's crazy. That's
businesses
awesome.
want to,
Okay.
you'll have more forms, so if like, okay.
That's great.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Yep.
thank you.
Steve, I guess going back to the agenda, we talked about nuisance properties and Burger King's closed all of these places and you got a leaseholder, you got a deed holder. It's just a mess. So we're trying to weigh the cost benefit likelihood of, getting the property cleaned up or whatever happens. What, I mean,
Or retaining the property as
Yeah.
maybe a city property,
yeah,
getting
you
it from them.
call them an abandoned property.
Much like we did with the hotel.
Oh, the same thing, only this has got 3 people involved, the landowner, the building owner, and the lease. But the lease guy's probably gone, right? It's just,
Right.
but now we've got all these semis parking there, they're not maintaining the building, there's no power and stuff hooked up to it. So I don't know if it fits the abandoned building code or not, but I mean, is it such a,
Are they paying the taxes, property taxes?
oh, yeah, they are.
Well, you gotta be powered, lights are on here all
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
There's power to
So
it.
there's power, they're paying the property taxes and they're
I thought
keeping
Nadine
it, I
said
mean,
there
they're
wasn't-
keeping it
No,
mowed.
it wasn't hooked up.
It's
Are there
just-
rodents getting in? vermin?
Probably,
No
I mean,
idea.
but we wouldn't
You-
have that idea.
First step would be get your code compliance officer over there and inspect the outside and just see if there's
That's what
any.
Jason's supposed to check it out.
But you're basically, I mean, we don't want to spin our wheels if,
You wouldn't be able to do an abandonment unless you have the criteria to
Okay.
do, it, which would be a nuisance building. Having vermin get in there, rats, what have you. If it qualifies, then you can do the abandon process, much like we did for the hotel.
Mhm.
If you don't do that, you can just pursue municipal infraction.
okay,
And fine them. And with municipal infractions, you also have the power to do the work yourself and charge it back as a lien on the property. So ultimately recover.
Like we do now with the lawns.
Yes.
but does that go behind the taxes if they stop paying taxes and they go, the lien fees
Yeah,
go back?
it's a lien. It would be an actual judgment from the court that,
Okay.
you
But
know,
position wise, on the title, it would still go behind the property taxes. Property taxes have to be paid first. So if they just stop
Yeah.
paying the property taxes, they're not gonna pay us back for the. But
Right.
if somebody wanted a clean title, they would have to pay all that. stuff.
yeah, when you
Okay,
sell.
Gotcha.
But if they
Cleaned
stop
up.
paying their property taxes, is that a whole nother issue?
That
But then you
becomes the
can
abandoned
start
deal, right?
coming a
Yeah, you
different
probably got a
angle from them.
bankruptcy notice from the actual operator. Much of the metro did,
Okay,
NPC International.
okay.
So the operator of the Burger Kings, the franchises under this NPC International, they filed
Did
bankruptcy.
you say
just wrapped
NP or
up.
NB?
NPC.
But I mean, like Carl Chevrolet's, there's been several people that have been interested in it, but I mean, it's just, and so it's sitting there, vacant, dilapidated, and I mean,
The only thing they did, they mowed.
Right.
Somebody from the franchise of Burger King come in and mow.
but I mean, is our leverage weak that we shouldn't be chasing this because we just have to let it work through the,
Yeah, unless you got vermin or,
Okay.
you know, something that triggers a municipal infraction that the city be interested in spending the money to clean up.
so we need to tell her then to have Jason Van Osdol come out, and that's who he's talking about.
Yeah, I
If
think
that's
she
okay.
has done it.
Do you
And
think-
He never came out though, did he?
Yeah, I think he did.
Okay.
Here's another question. If the owner of the property is in bankruptcy, I mean, could it be that they can't do anything right now until their bankruptcy's over?
It'd be
And
the
maybe
lease,
For
it'd be
the
the
lease,
tenant.
whoever it is in bankruptcy, that they can't do anything until the bankruptcy's over?
Well, the owner can always do something.
So
That's
it's the tenant that's in bankruptcy, not the
Right,
owner?
right.
Okay.
So if we had somebody that wanted to buy that place, the owner could still sell it to them regardless of the lease because the guy's in default.
Right. Right, they clearly closed down.
Yeah,
so,
right.
he may like the income stream because they may still be paying the rent. The
Gotcha.
discharge would have been pertained to the gap,
Okay.
or any back rent they had prior to the bankruptcy, but after that it flows. Then he can evict them, terminate the lease, and then he'd be free to sell
How long has it been closed?
I don't know, maybe that's what he's waiting on, is, for his income.
Has she
stream
made
to
any
fall out.
contact with the
it.
I
It did
mean-
just,
I mean,
the
that's the
bankruptcy
question.
did just end like in April or May.
Yeah, so maybe that's what he was waiting on, is
So if
is
there's no
because,
progress on the
if you've got an
finance fund,
income, there's
the
no,
owners, I mean,
you don't have to sell, because
we'll just take it
Right,
still
you're
have that
making
income,
money.
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something
Usually
that they
it's
can approach again,
black hole.
now that it's
I
over.
think so.
Brian, did you hear me?
Uh-uh.
He said that bankruptcy ended in just April or May, so his income stream might be ending very soon, so he may be more apt to sell now that that income's coming to an end.
Ash is just saying that we haven't even talked to the owner,
But I'm saying, that's what I was talking with him, is the owner may be more up to sell now that his income stream from the tenant is coming to an end because the bankruptcy just finished.
So you want us to continue or you
Well,
want
I
us
think we need to
stop?
make progress with the owner. So to me, if she's asking for feedback, work with the owner and Carl Moyer, put those two together. Because if we don't have grounds on the abandoned building, because, we don't meet the criteria, then we can still do the infractions, Is that all right? I mean, go down that
So,
road. That'll at least
yeah.
give some feedback to what.
Okay, so
to do.
we're giving him still the go-ahead
Yeah.
to continue, okay. All right, that's what I want.
And see where
Okay.
this is at in August. 'Cause we don't.
As long as she takes a logical approach to it, I mean, that's
I see.
which I trust she will.
I put here, we need progress by August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could revisit it in August.
But wouldn't
I
it make
guess, if we have
sense,
to.
I guess, from a strategy perspective, for
Yes,
the owner and
that makes
a
sense.
buyer to be put together? I mean, that can happen anytime, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, that's, you just tell her that.
Okay, got that.
Do we wanna talk to the
Yes.
Americans since he's here now?
The gas franchise guys.
The
That's what I was
guys,
just asking him
we
if we need to talk.
already
to
talked to
him.
him on the phone,
Yeah,
but
but I-
Well, we weren't in session, so I didn't know.
you wanna talk to him again?
I don't know. Do you wanna talk to him while we're actually in session?
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
so do you have any comments as far as the gas on the south side of the interstate? I mean, did you even know where it stops? And,
We were just talking about it. I
Okay.
think I have a general idea. I don't know if anybody's ever approached an American about extending the line,
right,
so that's what really needs to be done first.
okay.
Is that something that you can work on, or do we have to talk to somebody else about that?
It's not my world. But Ash and the mayor both have my emails.
Right,
Just
okay.
give me some specifics and contact, then at least we can make.
Okay.
Thank you for your help through this
Yeah, thank
process
you.
too. Appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate it. Long-term support with that.
Yep.
Do we
Good.
have anything else?
Anybody have
else?
anything? Yep, Janet,
What's your special meeting for?
what's
In 2 weeks, you said you're having a
special meeting?
Yes, we're gonna talk about the B28. Forrest has stuff to update and he will be talking about it, that highway here. And we have other issues, that's local issue, that hiring a new economic development director.
So
That the
you're
two
having
are-
a special meeting for that?
Yeah, Forrest has some stuff to work on to prepare for the special meeting.
So you'll let the public know what the special meeting's about. I mean, usually special meetings have certain rules.
We follow them every time.
We have agendas that come out right before that's published on the door, it's published on our website, it's known to everybody. I mean, we have an email list that it goes out to.
Good agendas that help let people really know what's going on.
I mean, is there something in particular that you're hinting about?
Well, no, following up on what's going on with you guys trying to annex all our properties. And we'd like to know, if that's what your special meeting's about, we'd like to know.
There's been no effort made to annex your property.
There's been no effort made.
Hey, who's talked to you from the city to annex your property?
Beaver Township.
Beaver Township,
Well, who talked to them?
well,
the city of Menlo knows that you guys are, everybody, and if you talk to the ethanol plant, they know who you guys are. So when you say you haven't talked to anybody, I know that's not true.
No, I didn't say that. You said that someone is trying to annex your property. That's what you said. I said, I have never talked to you about that.
No, you have not.
Okay.
No,
Well,
no, but
yeah, let's be specific if we're gonna accuse people of things.
this is a big Beaver Township. It's a huge amount of money that we'll lose if you guys annex that, which will affect the city of Menlo. And so we need to, it's a public hearing. You guys should be doing everything out in the public. That's what I'm asking, if this meeting has anything to do with that.
Steve, what you didn't see last meeting is during public forum, Jamie Rafter asked questions and we expressed that what we discussed in our closed session was not something that we could talk about.
And then we were encouraged by two supervisors to break the requirements of closed session.
Cow.
Yeah.
And
Because
so,
you just said you have a very descriptive agenda and you didn't.
so
Because you said.
this is what happened last time and we just said that we can't discuss it because we were in a closed
It's
session.
just like public forum where you guys are making decisions that weren't on the agenda.
So this is,
If you're having a special
Okay.
meeting, then there's
I'll,
rules.
I'll answer your questions as it pertains. There's a specific set of laws. They're called open meetings laws
Right?
and open records laws.
Right.
The city follows those. So there will be an agenda on all the topics that are going to be discussed at the special meeting. I believe they've already outlined what they intend to discuss. I heard you talk about annexation, ma'am, and there's a specific set of rules and regulations that pertain to annexation, and they would include a public hearing as well as written notice to affected property owners, as well as Mid-America and all affected utilities. There's a long process. So when the city, if the city pursues any annexation, those laws will be followed. And there'll be public hearings, there'll be public notice, and certainly all that will be on an agenda in addition to the written notice required by Iowa Code Chapter 368.
So that's not going to be something you're going to discuss on this special meeting.
Ma'am, an agenda has not even been prepared, but I do not believe annexation is going to be a topic at the special meeting. But I encourage you to look at any agenda that's posted. Does that answer your questions?
Anybody else have anything?
Mike, did you have any other questions since Steve's here and could answer your questions properly? Since we weren't able to answer your questions last month?
Questions for both.
Well, you and Jamie had a lot of questions and we couldn't answer them. And we encouraged you to contact Steve Brick, but nobody wanted to do that, so.
My opinion I've got from others also, is that, you went into closed session to discuss annexation. That was not on the agenda. It was ag business part.
We can't talk about what was discussed in closed
That's
session.
convenient too.
What's inconvenient, sir? There's
I said it's convenient that you can't discuss it, but it was discussed by council members.
Sir, I'd call your attention to the agenda for that particular meeting, and there was reference and motions made to go into closed session. All of that in accordance with Iowa law. So accusations don't get us anywhere.
No, because we were told by a council member what was discussed.
Who told you? We were in a closed session. Nobody could have told you that.
In the public forum.
Nobody
Last
said
meeting.
nobody said anything in a public forum last meeting.
Okay.
So the other backstory is Mr. Dixon's on the Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
So that's where a lot of his questions are coming from.
So what code, when you went into closed session, what was the reason for the closed session?
It was pursuant to Iowa Code 21.5, which lists a series of exceptions, including to discuss strategy with legal counsel on matters that are anticipated to be in litigation.
So there's going to be potential litigation on. It's good to know. That's all I can go into. If you have potential litigation, so.
If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at my office. We can discuss it further, or better yet, have your attorney contact me so we can discuss it further. Very good. Very good.
And Mike, when you're talking about something was discussed in public forum, you was talking about a council person talked where he shouldn't have talked after our meeting. Is that what you're referring to?
No, he brought it up in the meeting, the last meeting. He said it.
But we told him he was not supposed to say anything.
Okay, but he still did.
Yeah.
So what happens now that we know that a certain council person came out and talked about what's in closed session?
Yeah.
We'll evaluate all of that.
Okay.
Okay. So any other thing?
Yep, he's gonna take care of it.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Did you have a nice conversation with Officer Geisinger?
I did. I was sorry.